Welcome everybody to the Life, Death and Happiness podcast. This podcast is all about real talks with real people. Why? Because some stories just need to be told. In each episode, I will sit down and talk with my guest about how it is to live with an incurable disease or terminal illness. But let me get this straight before we start. This is all about celebrating life. I'm your host, Daniel Cole. Welcome. Welcome to this episode where I'm joined by Lorena from Texas. And could you please tell us all a little about who you are and just whatever you feel like telling us about yourself.
Okay. Well, like you said, Daniel, I'm Lorena. I'm originally from Indiana. I moved to Texas about three going on 4 years ago. I moved to Texas for my grandma because she wasn't doing so well. But I was born and raised in Indiana for almost 20 years.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time. So Texas is still kind of new to you.
Yes.
Yeah. How you moved because she didn't feel well and to help her out. I am just curious here. Was it ever a place you wanted to go before that, or was it just the circumstances that made you make that final move?
Just the circumstances. Okay. I was originally planning to move to California. But then I'm like, I'll move to Texas, see how it is for a few years. If I don't like it, I'll just move. So, but I like it so far.
I've never been there, actually. I've been to, I think 15 different states, but not Texas yet. It will happen someday, I'm pretty sure. I'm traveling abroad a lot, so I'll probably get to this sooner or later. But let me ask you here, what diagnosis do you have, and when did you get that?
I was diagnosed with Fanconi Anemia. I was diagnosed, I think, when I was 5 years old.
Okay, yeah. And how old are you now? I know I'm not supposed to ask
22.
that, but you're 22, okay.
Yeah.
So you've known this since you were 5 years old. Can you remember anything about your reaction or your parents' reaction back then?
Well, when we first found out that I had Fanconi, in school they thought, with all the bruises and everything, they thought my parents were abusing me. Oh. Well, that wasn't the case. And so they sent me to the Riley's Children's Hospital saying that I had leukemia. So they did a biopsy and they said, you don't have leukemia. So from then on, they're like, do you want to go to there? We have different hospitals that treat Fanconi. And I'm like, the closest one to us is Ohio, Cincinnati Children's. So I've been going there ever since.
Okay, so you are going there for yearly checkups and stuff like that.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question regarding these bruises here. Do you remember any of that part? Because I know it's a common thing, and for people who do not know about Fanconi anemia, we often get bruises and stuff like that. So it's not uncommon that people get a diagnosis because the school or the child care center or whatever you are, they actually think the parents are abusing their kids. And that's a very serious topic, and it's got to feel like shit to be a parent and get accused of something like that. Yes. I know you were a child back then, of course, but have you talked to your parents later about this? And
no, not really.
Not
I
really.
mean,
okay.
We just pushed it in the past and talked about it then.
Oh, I totally get that because it gotta feel so bad. I know a few people here in Denmark who have been through that too, and the parents, it's just so unfair. I mean, they're trying to give their kids all the love, and then they get accused for something like this because of a diagnosis they don't even know anything about at that time.
Yeah.
But you were 5 when you got diagnosed. So did you have a normal childhood, you think?
Not really, because I was always tired, didn't want to get up in the morning, and it was I didn't really, I was, for most of my life, I was isolated from the world, so I was in my little bubble until the transplant happened.
Was it something you choose by yourself, or was it your parents who tried to protect you?
It was my parents and the doctors.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want me to go out because they were afraid I'll get an infection or, it worsens.
Oh, yeah. They thought back then that I had a blood disease. I was diagnosed at 5 years old too. So they were afraid that if I went out by myself and I got bruises and I was starting to bleed, it wouldn't stop again. So they thought that could actually be fatal. So I was never allowed to... I was allowed to go to a friend's house and play there, but I wasn't allowed to just go out with the rest of the kids from around where I lived and just, go to the playground and all stuff like that when there was no grown-ups. So I feel regarding that. I mean, they try to protect you, and it's probably the right thing to do, but it still affects you as a kid.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well, I would sneak out with my godbrothers, and we would go riding our bikes, and they're like, okay, just be careful, don't fall. So, I mean, I have my older brothers watching out for me, so.
Oh, sometimes siblings is a very good thing to have. Yeah, my brothers helped me out a lot too regarding that. I mean, try to be around me so I didn't feel like I was alone. I couldn't go out like that.
Yeah.
But you told me before we started that you have had a stem cell transplant.
That's correct.
Can you tell me a little about that?
Well, it was the summer before 7th grade.
Yeah.
That I got the biopsy results, and they're like, you're going to need a transplant. So the stem cell transplant. So what they did was they tested my mom and dad because sometimes they're compatible with the stem cell transplant. I was outside with my dog swinging on her swing set, and my mom comes out running and crying. So I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? So she's like, well, you're going to need a stem cell transplant this month, so you can't go to school. And then she's like, do you want to know who your donor is? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, it's me. I'm your donor. So I was happy about that. So. Oh,
actually, I've never heard about that before. But that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
No. But that, again, it shows like a disease like Fanconi Anemia. It's not the same for everybody. It's so diverse. There's so many ways you can have this damn disease that not two cases are the same. But it was good in your case, of course. A great thing, actually, yeah. So she actually became your donor. And can you, to the people who are not so much familiar with that process, can you explain just overall what is this kind of transplant?
Well, what they do is they take the stem cell out of the donor, and then they put it like in a big syringe, and it's like a quick 5 seconds maybe that they just put in your port, and then you're done. But you do go through chemo for a couple months or a week or so, depending on how severe it is, and do chemo, and then after that they go and they do the transplant. That's it.
So that's pretty much it. How long did it take for you?
Being in the hospital or just...
Yeah, I think the whole process from beginning to end. I don't know how it happened to you, but usually you have to leave school for some time, and because you need to take care of all these things. So how long was the whole process for you?
Well, I missed 7th and 8th grade of my school year.
Okay, yeah.
And then during my freshman year of high school, that's when I was able to go, and so it was 2 years.
2 years, okay. How was it to get back?
It was awkward and weird.
Yeah?
I didn't know anybody, or they were my friends, but we grew apart, so it was a fresh start too, making new friends.
So for you, it was actually a good thing that you didn't come back to the same class, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think that having Fanconi anemia and having this kind of childhood has affected you as a person?
I don't look at it as a disease anymore, because when I was younger, I'm like, okay, everybody was fragile around me, but now I'm like, I have it. There's nothing I could do about it. I have to live with it. So I try and adjust my life to live with Fanconi.
Okay, so you just have it in the back of your mind, but you don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. And okay, I know that many of the other people I've talked to who have had, who still have Fanconi anemia, of course. I know some of them have been going to this Camp Sunshine for children with the disease, and later in life, maybe to the adult meetings and stuff like that. Have you ever tried to reach out and try to spend time with other Fanconi anemia patients?
I went to Camp Sunshine 1 year. I think it was back in 2013 or 14.
Okay.
I went to Camp Sunshine.
Okay.
And then from there, I didn't really... I'm more of a isolated kind of girl, so it's hard for me to get out and make friends.
So you didn't feel like coming back like that?
Yeah.
Had you ever met anybody else with the disease before that time? Before you went there?
No, I haven't.
Wasn't that overwhelming as beep to go there and see so many people?
Yes, it was overwhelming. I mean, it was nice to meet everybody and okay, I'm not the only one. I know other people. So it was nice then, but I still kept to myself. But I try to get out of that shell that I had around me.
But it can be pretty difficult, actually. I know most of the people who know me or who have met me at the adult meeting or the Camp Sunshine, or I've even been attending a German meeting just to talk about life, quality of life and stuff like that. And even though I am usually very outgoing, but I can have these moments too, like you described there. When I went to Germany, I can't speak a word of German. They did welcome me, and it was a good experience that I get up there and get the chance to talk about quality of life and how to live with this disease and still have a good life and a normal life. But at the same time, I felt so insecure when I got there because I knew nobody. Some of them had known each other from they were kids. I didn't speak the language. Oh, I just feel so uncomfortable in some situations because usually I'm just like, hey, I'm Daniel, blah, blah, blah. But on that occasion, I could really feel that I almost closed up inside. I didn't really, it was so awkward in some situations. And that was strange to me. So for you going there and meet so many with Fanconi anemia, maybe being curious about it, but at the same time maybe not knowing how to reach out.
Approach.
Yeah, how to approach people. Oh, yeah. I can imagine that. I think anybody who has been to these kind of meetings probably feel the same.
Yeah.
There was this one time in the Danish organization we have here for Fanconi anemia. We are very, very small foundation, of course. So we went to a meeting with other rare diseases, different groups who have rare diseases, so maybe we could help each other out. And it was so awkward. We were sitting there like two people with Fanconi anemia, two people who were dwarfs, and we had like 16 different, and they tried to put us in a room because, you must have so much in common. And nobody had anything in common. It was so awkward. Oh my, we spent like 6 hours there. It was so awkward. So I know that feeling. No. Let me get back on track. I'm always going off track. No,
it's fine.
No, but who are you? What do you like to do, and how do you see yourself as a person? Not just a person with Fanconi anemia, but who are you?
Well, I like to read. That's my biggest thing. I love reading and listening to music.
Yeah.
I'm actually in college right now. I'm going from my medical assistant, and then maybe later go from my registered nurse.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
And what I want to do is once I'm done with that, I want to go to Cincinnati and go through the bone marrow transplant unit.
Oh, that would actually be pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's my dream. So.
Oh, that would be cool. I mean, some other people with Fanconi anemia have become nurses and stuff like that, and I think that's admirable because I try to stay pardon my language, I try to stay the hell away from hospitals as much as I can because I've had so many not too good experiences there.
Yeah.
And but I really admire those of you who actually want to make a difference yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard going to the hospital and shadowing people because You know, I'm like, I've been there. Like, some of them are bad memories, but I'm like, I'm going to make good memories. I'm going to help them out. Like, they're not alone in whatever cancer they have.
Oh, it's a good way to look at it. So what was your main reason to, what, how can I say this? When you chose that route to do that, you were in need of a good nurse and a good doctor back then, but how come you did choose it after all? I mean, it's still a very big decision.
What made me choose it was since I always been in and out, like I just want to help people, and then I had a good doctor, Dr. Davies, and good nurses who helped me with everything. Even when I was down, like they would have like when I was in the hospital, they had like music therapy. So a guy would come in with a guitar and everything, or massage therapy, just like to help, calm you, make you feel at home.
They did that?
So that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Man. My doctors could learn something from your doctors. So where you at in your life right now? You're going to college, and you want to try to become a nurse, hopefully one day.
Yes.
So, in your life, you said before that it hasn't affected you so much again to have Fanconi anemia because you try to leave it behind you. And but how often do you actually think about it? I mean, when I ask if somebody wants to come online and talk about their story, you were like, yeah, I would actually like to talk about it. So, I mean, it must have a place in your mind still. So, how much do you think about it? And
probably every week I think about it because I'm like, okay, because I haven't seen the doctor in maybe 3 years because I didn't have insurance then. But since I do, I'm going back, and I'm like, okay, am I good? Like, I still have those little lingering thoughts in my head. Like, did it progress worse? Am I getting better? Like, where is it at in this stage?
Okay. Do you feel good at this time?
I do feel good.
Okay, I think that says a lot, actually. I mean, we've talked a lot about that in an early episode. You get a pretty good connection with your own body when you have something like this. Usually, I think to most people it doesn't come as a big surprise when problems occur, because if you actually listen to your body, it will probably tell you if there's something wrong. Maybe not exactly what, but you can just feel this wrongness or whatever you want to call it.
Well, there are times I did feel like that. I'm like, oh, okay, what is that? Like, sometimes I'll get like pain in my back, like where your kidneys are. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with my kidneys? I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be. So it's just those, like I said, lingering thoughts about, oh, what's next? What's happening?
But isn't that also the problem with having a disease like this, no matter what? You know that something will happen, and I know a few people say, you're not sure about that, but let's be real. Something will happen somewhere down the line. You just don't know if it's today or in 10 years from now or in 20 years from now or tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if you've given that any thoughts, but how do you think you managed to deal with that?
I think I managed to deal with that just like good, but not too good. Like, I still have those feelings, or like a how do I say it? It's right there. I just can't say it.
No, it's okay. Take your time. Yeah.
Like with how you said with your body, how you feel when something's wrong. Well, whenever I feel something wrong with my body, I'm like, okay, is it the Fanconi? Well, like, just all these thoughts.
I get that fully. I really get where you're coming from. I think I've never been normal in more than one sense of the word. So, but I think for normal people, when they're having like, okay, I'm having a back pain or something, it's just a pain. Yeah. To us, it's like it's a pain, and it's also like, is it a sign? I mean, it just makes a big difference.
Yeah.
When you think that way, yeah. So, but what do you believe that Fanconi anemia have made you stronger or weaker, or do you think that you actually live your life like you're supposed to, and like you didn't have it at all?
Some days, yeah, I feel like I don't have Fanconi, that I'm like just a regular person. But then I'm like, okay, what is a regular person?
Now that's a mighty good question.
Yeah. So how can you be a regular person if you don't know what a regular person is? So with there are days that I feel normal, like I'm good, like there's nothing wrong. But then a couple days later, I feel okay. I have this. How am I going to deal with this problem? How am I going to deal with the Fanconi? So there's different ways, and I'm in the Fanconi research group, and I see how they do all these fundraisers. I'm like, okay, gives me ideas of how to do fundraisers to help Fanconi.
Have you done any? I'm just curious.
No, I haven't, not yet.
Okay, yeah, but I think that to me it's a big dilemma because I want to stay on top of things. I want to know about the newest science. I want to know what happens to my friends I've gotten to learn to know through this. But at the same time, I do believe I went more than 20 years without any problems, any issues at all. And I think that was probably because I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Because I was just living life. My story very short, I've told it many times before. I thought I was cured. I was told I was cured. So I never gave it any thoughts before I figured out back in 2014 that was not the case. I got a cancer and stuff like that. But, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I believe that me thinking I was cured might be a big reason that I went so many years without trouble, because I never had that thought about what will happen next.
Yeah. I mean, there was a year, I was a senior year, I didn't think about it at all. So I was just living my life how it was. But then I moved down here, I'm like, okay, I need to get on top of it. I need to make sure my counts are good, make sure my levels are good, make sure nothing's going down or everything's steady.
But to me, that's just being smart. I mean, hopefully, how long time was it since you had your transplant? I mean,
9 years.
Yeah, that's a long time. And you're still going strong, and you don't have any issues at all right now. That's pretty damn good. If you could go for 9 years, you can go for 18 years. Or maybe longer before you get anything.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the dream?
Yes.
I mean, for all of us.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the big thing is, do you dare to dream about it? I think that's holding some people back, actually.
Because I know it held me back. Sometimes.
So you have had this life and you have had these experiences. How have your family and your friends reacted to all this?
Well, when I told my friends about it, they acted differently towards me. Like, they wouldn't, hang out with me. They wouldn't play with me when I was younger. They're like, oh, okay, stay away from her. Don't, don't be around her. You might catch something. And then when I was in middle school, before I had a transplant, my school made a fundraiser.
Okay.
So we had Zumba, we had food, and we raised all these money from me and my parents, so we could travel. So my mom and dad could travel back and forth from Cincinnati to Indiana.
Oh, that's
so
really
that
cool.
was a big help. Yeah. And so like I said, freshman year started, it was new people, or they didn't know, or they thought something happened. Actually, one of my friends, oh, you're alive? I thought you died. I was taken aback about that. I'm like, are you serious?
Oh, how did you respond to that?
I was in shock. I'm like, what? Do you not see my Facebook page? I've been posting a lot of stuff. So, I just walked away from that.
Okay,
I'm like,
in some twisted way, maybe it was a positive thing. Maybe he or she meant it in a positive way. Oh, you're still alive. Like, it's a good thing, and it is a good thing, but it's just such a strange thing to say to other people.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, maybe I should try to ask that question to someone just out of the blue. So when you meet an old friend, oh, you're still alive. Who does that?
Yeah. So.
Oh, sometimes people are weird.
Yeah.
Oh, how I don't know how your relationship is with your parents and your family and your siblings today. But how did the rest of your family? How did they react to all this? Back when
they were in shock.
They were in shock, yeah.
My parents were in shock too. Like, it was hard for me and my dad and my mom for a while. Just trying to get used to going to the doctors and, like, you know, figuring out what I could do and what I can't do. And then with my extended family, like, they were supportive most of the time. But I didn't actually tell them about everything that was going on. Like, I left that up to my parents because I wanted to, but at the same time I didn't. So I'm like, you know, should I keep it to myself or should I tell them? So it was a big debate with me and telling my immediate family. So,
now that you made your choice back then, how do you think what would you advise other people to do if they came into the same situation as you were there?
I would say live your best life.
Live your best life, okay. And just be open about it, or do you think that's a good thing?
Yes, be open.
Yeah.
Yes. Be open, don't hide it, because that's how it was. I would hide it from everybody, but then I'm like, you know what? Forget it. You know, this is me. If you don't like it, then you don't have to be in my life. So.
I think that's a very healthy approach, actually. I mean, we have Fanconi Anemia, but it could have been something totally different. I mean, people who is very overweight or very small or very tall and everything, they keep hearing people's prejudices and stuff. And, I mean, you can't walk around taking into account what other people think. They have to take you for who you are, no matter what. I mean,
yes.
Having Fanconi Anemia or something differently, sclerosis, whatever people can have, it doesn't make you... You're still a person. I mean, you have the same hopes, fears, and dreams like everybody else. So why treat you differently?
I question that every day. Like, now I'm like, why do you treat this person like this? Like, in my head, I'm like, okay, why is that person treating this person different just because you're tall or you're small? So I'm like, you're you.
I can't argue with that. I'm kind of curious here because I don't know so much about you regarding these things. A lot of people with Fanconi Anemia is having a problem with their thumbs or other stuff like that, or they're extremely small and stuff. Do you have any of these things? Do you deal with any of it?
Yes, my thumbs. I'm missing a joint in my thumbs.
Okay.
So.
Actually, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of the lucky few who haven't, but yeah. Do people notice that? Yeah. Sorry.
Sometimes they do notice that. Well, they're like, oh, how come your thumb's like that? I'll just tell them, well, I'm missing a joint. Like, you know, they're like, well, can you get it fixed? I'm like, I can, but I don't want to. Like, I'm fine with them. Like, so they work great.
And that's actually just what's important here, yeah. So you don't give them the whole speech about FA just because they ask a question regarding the thumbs, or...
Sometimes I'll give them a speech. It varies on, like, you know, who it is or how they ask it.
So before we talk about the other topics, I'm kind of curious about how do you see yourself in like 5 years from now? You know, I mean, I know you're aware of the Fanconi Anemia Research Fund, and you probably read about the different cases and stuff like that. But I know you have this dream about becoming a nurse. I don't know how long time that usually takes in the U.S., but what are you immediately dreams about? Where do you want to be in life? What do you hope for?
I hope in 5 years, I hope like I'm like traveling, like being a travel nurse, like going to different countries, getting information from how they deal with this or how they, what medications they use and stuff like that. So that's where I see myself in 5 years.
And still living in Texas. Oh.
Maybe.
I want to dive into some of the stuff that we usually talk about. We usually get around to talk about death, not because it's, I mean, if we're all going to die anyway, but it's something that matters to a lot of people, or at least we have to think about it maybe early on in life than people are normally doing. Have you ever given any thoughts about death and how to deal with it?
Yeah, I have given thought about that. I'm like, it happens, it'll happen. Like, that's the cycle of life. Like, I die, like, I don't want a big funeral or anything like that. I would like just like my family and to be buried.
So you haven't giving so much thought to it other than you just know that you want those people who you love to be around you for like that.
I mean, when I was younger, I always thought about, because they always told me, oh, when you're 20 or when you're 21, you might not be here. Like, that's the lifespan. That's where it ends for you. Or when you're 15. So, like, I wait. I'm like, okay, at 15, I'm still here, still strong.
And you still are now. I mean, it's one thing that nobody can avoid. Everybody will die someday. So I totally get that. But is it something you have... Did you fear it back then and you've come over that fear? Or was it the same back then that you were just like, it will happen when it happens?
It was fear back then, but now I got like over it. I dealt with it. I'm like, okay, because I used to have a little brother. He was not even a day old. And he had Fanconi, but like the severe type. Oh. And he passed the next day. Oh. So I'm like, when I was little, I always feared death. But then as I got older, I'm like, okay, God wanted him. He has him. And it's just next our time.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss. I didn't know that part. How much let me know if I'm getting too personal here. How did that affect you? And how has it affected your life, do you think?
It affected me, like, pretty rough. Like, I couldn't deal with it until, like, maybe junior year of high school. I'm like, okay, if I keep doing this life or, like, keep, like, crying about it or, like, keep mourning, I'm like, is he giving or, like, is he in peace? If I keep mourning. So I still mourn about it, but not as bad as I used to. Because like almost every month I'll be like in just like my little shell and just like crying, like don't talk to anybody.
I get that. I think it's healthy for your mental stability to take your time to cry about these kind of things. I'm very like, I'm a man, I don't cry. Bullshit. I mean, as a man, as a dude, I don't talk so much about that part either. But I mean, I think it's okay when you need to, and when you feel like it. I mean, you have to let it out somehow. That pain you feel inside. I haven't lost a brother, but I lost my mother to cancer back in 2007. And that was like, it came out of nowhere, and she was gone within 3 or 4 months. And to me, it was incredibly difficult at that time, of course. And I would probably never have admitted that like 20 years ago. But when I go and I visit her grave, I usually do it by myself. I don't want I don't like my wife to be there. Or I don't take my son there. Maybe my dog every now and then, but he can't really tell. I mean,
yeah.
And I do sit there, and I can, even after so many years, I can still sit there and cry because it's just, I allow myself to do it at that time. And I think it's healthy to do it.
It is.
Or else it just gets stuck up inside and...
It keeps building up.
Yeah, exactly. The tension keep building and... Yeah. And I think it's... I think it's important to let yourself moan when something like that happens.
Yeah.
That is also the reason why I think it's difficult to be in part of the Fanconi Anemia, what you call it, society, that's community, the family, whatever you want to call it. I love some of these people to death. I mean, there's so many nice people and cool people and good friends. At the same time, the more I get involved, the more pain I experience when we lose people. I haven't found the right balance yet. But I have found out over the last many years that I'm pretty much an emotional dude, even though I don't like to admit that.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard when I find out, we lost another FA patient. It's hard, even though I don't know them, I'm they're still, a part of me.
Like a constant reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So difficult sometimes to talk about it, especially when, like you lost a brother. I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, I sometimes hear people, do you ever get over it? No, you don't get over losing someone that close. You learn to deal with life afterwards, and the different life you have. I mean, you wake up to a new day, but you don't get over it. I hate that expression when people say, have you
get over it.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean,
right.
You don't get over that. It will still hurt 20 years from now, but it's all right. As long as you use it to some kind of fuel to remember to live life yourself.
Yes. I just think about the good memories of him.
I mean,
that's what helps me get through the day.
And there isn't any other better way to honor him than actually keep going with your life and following up on your dreams. So I want to talk a little more about your dreams and what you do, because I'm curious. I mean, you're trying to become a nurse, but what else do you like to do in your life?
I like to draw.
You like to draw, yeah?
Yes. I like to, I'm good at drawing flowers. That's my specialty, I guess you could say.
Something you do just to relax, or? Yeah?
Relax. I'll go outside, I'll get my drawing board, I'll just draw with my music in my ears and just free flow.
Oh, that's cool. I always wanted to learn how to draw, but when I try, it still looked like somebody at 5 years old did draw that. So it's like, okay, this is kind of embarrassing.
That's when I do I try to draw people. I'm like, no, I can't do it. That's not my specialty. Go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you said you like to listen to music. I'm kind of curious here. And I was like, oh, should I ask that question? I had to look at your Facebook profile. Just, who are you? And you actually have what artist Snow the Product?
Yes.
I've never mentioned a single other person who liked her. So I was like, what? I didn't expect that at all. I was just like, you get good taste. I
love her music.
Yeah, you listen. As far as I could, it was just a quick look to see just to learn something. I just noticed you listen to a lot of different kind of music, and I was just taken back by what? How? Well, what?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, okay. She's cool. And that is just me being nerdish about music. I listen to a lot of music and I'm very, very nerdish about it. And I'm usually diving all the way into it and be like, who's the producers and who have done the work behind it and all that stuff.
That's how I am.
I love music so much. It's a good getaway. I think for many of us. I mean, put on your headphones, listen to something. I don't care what genre you like or whatever. It's just you can deal with so many emotions that way.
Yes.
That's like, I love that.
Yes. So do I.
So I'm kind of curious here again. I'm curious all the time, so I keep asking. That's kind of what I do here. So don't mind me.
Fine.
Do you regularly see any other with Fanconi Anemia these days, or you have only been to Camp Sunshine, you said once.
Yes.
So I don't know if you're in contact with a lot of people regarding it. I was just curious about how big part of your life that is. But it's not a big part, right?
No. I've been trying to go to the meetings and everything, but it's been so hard with school and then work. But I'm trying to go next year because I heard it's here in Texas.
Oh, that should make it easier, yeah. Then you almost have no excuses.
Yes, definitely. So that's my plan going next year. I even have written on my board to go to the FA meeting next year.
Or do you have a board of what you want to do in your life? Or talk to me about that. I want to know what that is. I mean, we will talk about straight up happiness later, but kind of curious about that's again. It's part of your hopes and dreams.
Well, one of my hopes right out of high school was to go to the UK.
Yeah.
Just to go just be there for a year and then come back. Then my other dreams I have on my board is backpack through Europe.
Yeah.
I want to take my cousin because she's been wanting to go backpacking. So I'm like, okay, we'll make a plan. We'll go to Europe, backpack through the whole Europe.
Oh, that could be pretty cool.
I love traveling. That's what I want to do is travel.
I totally get that. It's just fun. I think it broadens your way of looking upon life. And it also makes the world become a lot smaller because it just become more relevant. I mean, before I went to the US the first time, all I knew was the stuff from the media. I was like, yeah, crazy country. They just have a very, very good PR machine when they make movies and music, but otherwise, but I have learned so much from actually meeting so many people, both at meetings, but also privately, and experience how they live, what they care about in life, stuff like that. And it's the same, not just the US, but I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Kenya and Africa, I've been to many places, and each time I learned so much about life and about how other people live. And I think it gives so much inspiration. So I can only recommend you that. You have to do that.
Yeah. I've been almost everywhere in the US. I'm I need to travel outside of the US. I need to go.
And UK is a good place to start. I mean, London is beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful cities in the UK. The weather is shit. It's even worse than here. But you also got the good thing that you're actually able to speak with them. It's easier than going to Paris the first time, where no matter how hard you try, they'll be like, don't get what you're saying. Damn it. I'm trying here. I'm trying. So
I actually don't want to visit Paris. It's not on my list.
Okay, I got to be curious because a lot of people, when I hear Americans talk about Europe, they're often like, oh, I got to go to Paris. How come you...
I don't know. I feel like Paris, everybody talks about it. Everybody wants to go there. I'm like, I hear all these stuff about Paris. I mean, I love Paris. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't want to visit. I feel like it would be too crowded. guess too. I don't like being crowded, so.
That's really. Well, I think most major cities these days are crowded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of what I mean. The big cities have a lot of tourism, so that's also part of London where it's crazy. Was really like,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure.
I want to go around London.
I have a feeling you will like that because I think it's too touristy these days, but at the same time, there's so many beautiful buildings, and there's just something about London that you can't really compare to many other cities in the world.
Yeah.
It's been some years since I was there. It was actually a while right after I got my cancer. So it's been 2014. We just needed a short getaway just because of all that shit happening. So we went there for like 5 days. It was between 2 surgeries where we just needed to get the... Again, pardon my language. We just needed to get the hell away and do something different, something positive for a few days. I couldn't even eat because of my tongue and stuff, but didn't matter. It was just nice to be someplace different and just go walk around and enjoying the moods, and I love that.
Enjoy.
Yeah, just enjoy and be present.
The nature.
So, with all these things we've been talking about, I wonder how do you look upon happiness? How do you define that? What is happiness to you?
Happiness, being around family.
Being around family.
Yes. I love my family. Like, they're so supportive. I don't see myself without my family.
So you cannot be happy without them being around?
I mean, I could be happy without them, but like just the love that I feel.
Yeah.
Love is...
I'm teaching you over here because I'm looking for, like, family is important, but, I mean, what do you do to create happiness for yourself in your life? What matters to you when you wake up in the morning? Of course, family, I totally agree with that. I couldn't live without my family and my son and my wife, but, I mean, what do you really enjoy doing?
Music. That's what gives me happiness. Music. Like, when I wake up, I listen to music. Like, I could like listen to music all day.
Do you mostly do it like just being at home, or like going to the park and choosing the right music to when you sit there, you enjoy that? Or
yeah, I enjoy nature.
Yeah,
like I love nature. Like, I'll be like just to get out of the house, I go to the park, or I drive to San Antonio and just walk around the river.
I'm asking here because I don't know jack about Texas other than the name, and everybody making fun of everything is so big in Texas. But do you have beautiful nature in Texas?
We do.
You do?
Yes.
Tell me about it. I don't know anything about it.
Well, what we have here is the rivers. Like, I love going to the rivers. Like, you could see the little fishes, and the water is clear. And yeah. And then the hill country, we call it hill country. It's all about the hills. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, the landscape and the country is beautiful. In the city, not so much.
So you make lousy cities, but you're good at nature.
Yes.
Well, it's not the worst. I mean, I've seen the nature, and I mean, when people talk about the U.S., sometimes I can't stop laughing because they're like, "Oh, I've been to the U.S., I've been to Boston." I'm like, do you have any idea how diverse that country is? I mean, it's such a big difference between you being in California, or you being in Nevada, or you being in Boston, or down south in Georgia. I mean, the nature is so different, and the people are also very different from one another. You're all American, I know that, but there's still a big difference in so many areas between people. I mean, it would be the same, like, yeah, Danes and people from Italy, they're probably the same. They're living on the same continent. It'd be like, what?
Yeah.
So maybe I should go there someday too. I mean, I'm trying to see as much as I can while I'm there.
Yeah. So, you should come to Texas. It may be hot, but it's good.
It's hot?
It's hot. It goes up to 100 degrees.
No, it's okay for
103.
Me. I know as a Fanconi Anemia, I don't know if people know that, people who listen, but usually we are told to stay out of the sun. Because it's not good for our skin. We can get skin cancers and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying it's not serious, okay? I'm not trying to say that people should just run around in the sun without sunblocks or anything, but I love the sun.
Yes, I do too.
And I love the warm weather. I've been to Nevada before, and the people I traveled with was like, "Oh, it's too hot," and so it was like, "This is damn near perfect."
Yeah.
Same with being in Florida. It's the same. Oh, it's too hot. I want to go home. It's like, shut up. I appreciate the sun, okay? It fills me up with energy.
Yeah. I love the sun too. Like, whenever I go out, my mom's like, put sunscreen on. I'm like, okay. So I go put sunscreen. I'll be out in the sun and then come back. Like, I'm not out in the sun, like, too much. Because, like you said, we can't be out in the sun too much. But I love the sun.
Yeah, we too. But that is a compromise you sometimes have to make. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know, do you, I have to ask, do you drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes or anything like that?
I drink alcohol once in a while.
Yeah.
Like in a blue moon, like I'll drink alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't smoke though.
I mean,
not cigarettes, but I do smoke marijuana once in a while.
Yeah. That's totally fair game for me. I mean, I did that when I was younger. After my mouth cancer, I've cut everything out. Like both, I never smoked cigarettes either. It tastes like shit. Marijuana, totally different story. But I've chosen not to drink alcohol anymore, not smoke and all that stuff because the risk is just too big for me now that I already have one mouth cancer. But I get why people do it. I mean, when we talk about quality of life, I don't know if you've given it any thought, but how much are you willing to compromise with your life just to be on the safe side regarding having Fanconi anemia?
It's kind of like a 50-50 for me. So, like I said, like I hardly drink, or if I'm out in the sun, I have my big old hat on. Like, I'll stick, so once in a while, I'll stick my arm out for the sun and then stick it back in, but other than that, it's 50-50.
Would that also be what you would recommend younger people?
Oh, younger people? I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Of course not children, but yeah, I'm curious about because that's probably what I've given the most thoughts to over the last couple of years. This is about quality of life. How much should you compromise? I mean, I've chosen not to drink and smoke anything any longer. But the sun, I would go nuts without being out in the sun. So in that case, I put on sun, what do you call it?
Sunscreen.
Yeah, sunscreen. I try to be smart about it. But I'm not going to wear long sleeves all year. Wearing a cap all the time or something like that ain't going to happen to me. No, it's not going to happen. I'm not willing to make that compromise because I love the sun too damn much. Yes. So I'm be like, that is my guilty pleasure. And I know it will probably bite me in the ass someday. I'm aware of that, but I'm trying to stay healthy in so many other areas. So I think it's okay for me to take this one thing and be like, this means so much to me that I'm not willing to make a compromise here.
Yeah.
And I think we're allowed to do that.
Every once in a while, I feel like we could do that. As long as we don't do it like constantly. Like, every day, like every once, like a special day, or every once in a while, or every other week.
I mean, if we have to fit in among other people, we will have to do something. I mean, if you listen to everything, you should sit indoor without any sun, not drinking, not smoking, and you should exercise regularly. I mean, how does that even add up? How do you do that? I mean, do you go for a run in the middle of the night? I mean, there's so many things we should do. I've looked at some lists about what we should eat to build up a better immune system and stuff like that. And you can do that. We got a lesson one year that for adult meeting that we should eat, I think, was half an onion each day. That'll be very good for us. One raw half onion. I mean, how would I do that? I mean, I could make a good sandwich. I admit that I could make a good sandwich. Chop up some onions, put them in there raw. All good. After a month, I would be sick and tired of eating sandwiches.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to incorporate that in my meal every single day, all year round. I mean, so we have all these rules. Yeah, we have all these rules of what we're supposed to do. I mean, do we actually give all these small rules, let's call them that, do we give them any thoughts at all? To be honest.
Not really, no.
Not really. No, but I think it's good to admit that. And you still live a good life. I mean, you haven't had any problems. And to the parents out there, I'm not trying to tell your kids to do all kind of stupid stuff. Just trying to, you have to measure out, you have to find a balance in the things. I mean,
see where they fit in, like what they like, and if they don't like it, okay.
Yeah. Anything can be good or bad. But you need to find some moderation about how you do it. I mean, if you like drinking, probably not drink 20 beers a day. Probably not a good idea when you have Fanconi Anemia. Or if you just want to live to become more than 25 years old. I mean, but you can get it on, you can do it on occasion if you want to and if you feel like. Same with lots of other stuff. So, you talked a little about what happiness is to you being around your family. If you could sum up some of the experience you've had and gotten through this life with having Fanconi Anemia, being through losing a brother, being in a family where you have a very strong relationship. So that makes it easier, not easier, but it makes you able to deal with these things.
Yes.
What would you, if you met somebody who was diagnosed very recently with either, cancer, Fanconi Anemia, leukemia, whatever, what would your advice be to them about how to approach life and deal with it?
Well, I would say live your life, but know your limits, and be open about what you have. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, there really ain't. No, I agree with that. And I haven't asked this question since some of the first episode, actually. For the people you meet on your way, it can be relatives, it can be friends, families. What would you say to them? What is the right way to approach someone like you with a disease like this? How should they approach you? I mean, some people are actually afraid to talk to us about it. And they don't know, maybe they want to stay in contact, but it's so difficult for them to know how to deal with it.
I don't know, that's kind of a tricky one.
Yep. How would you like them to approach you?
Just by coming up to me, like asking me like, just questions, like maybe leading up to that big answer.
So if I get right, you want them to ask you instead of just guess what's going on, or yeah, in reality, that is what everybody should do. I mean, communicate some more. Talk about the stuff.
Communication.
Don't be so afraid of touching on these kind of subjects. I mean, what could go wrong? I mean, if somebody come up to me and be like, "Oh, I heard you was at the hospital the other day. Are you all right? What did happen?" I would much prefer that than hear them talking to somebody else, be like, "I don't know what's going on with him. He's at the hospital all the time." You know, instead of just instead of coming to me, instead of confronting me with the stuff and be like, "Okay, let's hear it from the house mouth. What is going on with you?" I mean, don't be afraid to ask. I would never yell at somebody, "How dare you ask about my health?" I mean, that's usually not how it works. Actually, sometimes it feels good when people are not afraid to ask questions. So, I asked you earlier about where you thought you would be like 5 years from now. What are your hopes and dreams for the long end? I mean, where do you hope to get to in your life? What are your hopes and dreams regarding that?
Having a family.
Yeah? That's not the worst dream you can have.
No.
Do you think it's possible? With what?
I do.
Yeah?
I do think it's possible.
I pretty much think you're right about that. And I'm saying that because I know some people who have a terminal illness, a chronic disease, or whatever people deal with. That some people don't want to start that life because they're either afraid of losing it way too early, or that nobody will like them or love them enough because they have this disease. There's so many different things that people think about that maybe scare some people and be like, "Oh, I should probably just be happy about being alone and find a good hobby," and, you know.
No.
Exactly. Keep dreaming.
Yes.
I mean,
because those dreams will come true.
And
you just have to find.
Yeah. I mean, it has happened to so many people. You can always look at the examples of people living alone and not having a good life. But you could also look the other way and see people who have been married, who got children. Either, maybe some of them are donor children because they cannot get them by themselves. But I mean, we do have a lot of people with these kind of diseases. I think I will ask you one last question. It's not something I planned. It's just I read recently on a board that someone had asked a question about pregnancy because she wanted to get a child but couldn't get it on her own. And somebody got mad at her and called her, selfish because she wanted to have a child even though she knew she had this disease. And it kind of made me mad. I mean, how dare people say something like that? But I'm kind of curious. You're a woman. You have Fanconi Anemia. Do you think you have the same, it maybe sounds tricky here, but do you think it would be good for you to have children?
I don't know. I'm still, it's hard to tell. Because I feel like if I do have a kid, will it progress worse for them or with me? And I don't want my kid, to have it, real severe, like my brother did. So it's just, a possibility of scared.
I get that. I think
it is possible.
think I understand both sides. When they tell someone, I know other people have gotten the same question about how dare you have you bring a child to life when you don't know if you're going to be here in 5 years from now. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I mean, they're thinking about the child and be like, the child shouldn't experience that pain of losing a parent. On the other hand, I can't help but think, isn't it better to have parents who truly love you and who want to do everything they can to experience every single minute with you for as long as they can? Isn't that better to have 5 or 10 years with a parent like that than having 20 years with a parent who don't give a flying fuck about you? Or at least not on the same deeper level. I mean, I see plenty of children whose parents are not really nice to them. I mean, I know it's a big discussion. It just came to me because I read it the other day, and it just moved something inside me because I was like, do people really ask these kind of questions? I mean, wow, how dare they?
Yes. I don't know. It breaks my heart when they like say that. Like, you know, when they say something like that, it's like, okay, are you saying like I can't be a good parent? Yeah, I might be here, I might not, but at least, you know, I have a spouse who could take care of him and give him stories, or my mom telling him stories about me. I mean, yeah, it's the thought of leaving your kid. But it's also like me bringing a child, like a next generation.
Yeah, I get that. Me and my wife my kid is a donor kid too. I helped choose a donor together with my wife because we wanted to do it that way. So it was a conscious choice we made about picking that donor. And to me, it's kind of important because I know that some parts of me will live on in my son after I'm gone. And I know that was a big motivation for my wife too. It's something we share together, the love we give to that child. And hopefully I can be there until he turns 18 or 20 or I don't know what the future brings. But to think that I shouldn't do this just because I have some damn disease in my body, it just feels wrong whenever I see this kid. I mean, so, me personally, I would recommend everybody to try it. Go get kids. Go get a family. Screw what other people think. I mean, we have the same right as everybody else.
Yeah. We're not different.
Nah,
I mean, we may have a disease, but we're not different from anybody.
And maybe we actually are able to stay more present with the kids because we know what situation we're in. So maybe we spend the time better. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but I think so. At least I would like to think that's the way it works. Is there anything else you would like to add here by the end? I'm kind of curious about where you are regarding all this. You talked about your future and your hopes and your dreams and where you are right now.
Well, I hope to see everybody next year at the FA meeting. Like, that's one of my other big dreams.
Yeah.
Is to go to the FA meeting and meeting everybody. And hopefully keep in contact with them.
It's a good thing, at least. So I think it's always healthy to talk to people every now and then who knows how you feel and knows what you deal with emotionally and mentally. I mean, it can be a good thing and it can be a big thing. I think I didn't know you so well before we got into this talk, but I think I like the way you think about many of things. You seem very relaxed regarding it and very down to earth. You have pretty much figured out what you want in life regarding, I mean, you love your family, you love your music, drawing every now and then. You don't stress too much about it, just trying to actually go out there and live your life. I think that's a pretty good example to set for other people. So I do respect that a lot. I think it's a good way.
Thank you. No.
It has been a pleasure to hear your story, hear your side of things, and how you have been doing so far. And hopefully you will do well many years from now on also. I really hope so. You made me a little curious about this, about going to Texas one day.
You should come.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you, Daniel.
And take good care.
You too.
Bye. Thank you for listening to tonight's episode of Life, Death and Happiness. If you like this, please do us a big favor and head over to iTunes, Overcast, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast from, and subscribe to us. If you also give us a good rating, it will help us a lot reaching much more people, so I will appreciate that a lot too. Also, you can of course follow us on Facebook and Twitter and help us spread the word through there. My name is Daniel, and thank you so much for listening.